Yeah, the Knicks. They are a peculiar team because you look at their record and you say to yourself, okay, well, this is a team that's 38-20. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They're not playing terrible basketball, but they're also not playing efficient basketball either. Karl Anthony Towns has been limping around for weeks. You have Jalen Brunson, who literally had to score 9 straight points for them to beat, who was it, the Wizards the other night? Like, Josh Hart never comes out of games. Tom Thibodeau's rotations is such a detriment to this Knicks team, and it's been historically in his career, from Derrick Rose to the time that he was in Minnesota. He just tends to run his stars into the ground. So by the time playoffs come around, there's nothing left. You have to find ways to utilize other players. You have to find ways to utilize your young bench. You have to find ways to be able to get Karl Anthony Towns the rest that he needs so he can be able to be effective for you come playoff time. This is a team that is guaranteed to be in the playoffs at this point. You've played 58 games. At this point, I would put Karl Anthony Towns on a minutes restriction a little bit so he can be able to get healthy. There's no reason to push these guys to the brink that you're pushing them to. You're not catching Boston. Yeah, you're a couple of losses away out of the loss column to be able to possibly get to second. But is that really a big deal? No, it's not. So you have to find ways to get these guys rest. Mitchell Robinson is already a guy that's hurt. You have OG Anunoby, who's been out for a long time. So there's a lot of pressure being put on the guys, the stars that are here, the role players that are here. But you got to expand that bench. You got to give guys a shot, man. And I've heard from Knicks fans for weeks that they're just not happy with how this team looks because as good as they're playing, can you honestly say that they're a championship team? You can't. They're not. It's one of those things where it's like, you're here. You got the top teams here. You got the bottom feeders down here. The Knicks are where I always say you don't want to be. Sports purgatory. You're not good enough to be the elite team, but you're not bad enough to be the bad teams. So you're right here. So you're literally good. You're going to make the playoffs. You're going to be a top 3 seed. You're going to have an automatic seed in the playoffs. But do you really have a shot to win a championship? The answer is no. They're not better than Boston. Unfortunately for me to say that, because I hate Boston. You're not better than Cleveland. You're not better than OKC. You're not better than Memphis. You're definitely not better than the Rockets. You damn sure ain't better than my Lakers. So, where do the Knicks turn from here? I think after this season, they're really going to have to make a decision if Tom Thibodeau is the right person to be able to spearhead this iteration of this team. I think if you put in a new coach that understands depth, understands that you need, more guys on your bench to be able to contribute, to find different ways to get guys to be effective and to utilize them. But how they're operating right now is that they're all gas, no brakes. And at some point, you're going to want to stop, slow down, and you can't. Because these guys are out of gas. So I hope that they can get it together. I don't see it. And it's going to be one of those seasons where Knicks fans are in the playoffs. They're getting a playoff series because they're probably going to get an advantage at home. And then they're going to go home. And then we're going to have the same conversation next season. and in the offseason about how they're going to improve, what they're going to do, they can be able to make some marginal improvements to the roster. They might need to change the head coach. I've been saying it for a while that Homer Simpson is not the right guy to be able to spearhead this team into the next generation. He's just not. He's so laser focused on just, I got to get to the playoffs. I got to get to the playoffs. Okay, cool. You're in the playoffs. Now what? Now figure out a way to be able to get your guys some rest and actually get some quality minutes out of some other people. But what do I know? And then when it does happen, I'm going to come back here and say, told you. Happens the whole time.